Good morning, America. Memorial Day weekend kickoff. Severe storms and flooding threats making it a weather washout for the plains and parts of the South, even as holiday travel is expected to break new records with millions of Americans on the move. The latest on the roads and in the sky.
Plane crash investigation. New doorbell video showing the moment a small plane slammed into a San Diego neighborhood. What investigators are saying about two critical systems that were out at the airport while that plane was attempting to land.
New tariff targets. President Trump threatening to impose 50% tariffs on the European Union.
It's time that we play the game the way I know how to play the game.
And also warning Apple of 25% tariffs if iPhones aren't fully manufactured in the U.S.
Just in New York State. Billy Joel's health battle, the music legend canceling all concerts following a diagnosis of a brain disorder, what medical experts are saying this morning.
Early shark sightings. As millions of Americans head to the beach for the start of the summer season, the new efforts to keep you safe in the water, what you need to know, plus our barbecue breakdown. From burgers to hot dogs to the fixins, the costs for your holiday spread, and advice on how to save.
And playoff fever.
It's a three. Got it.
Results from the latest Eastern Conference game. Can the Knicks do what's never been done before? Plus, ESPN's Malika Andrews talks strategy for tonight's matchup between the Thunder and the Timberwolves.
Live from ABC News in New York, this is Good Morning America.
Good morning, America. The music's got the Saturday vibes here.
Yeah. It's a weekend ready to go.
Yeah, we're trying to pep up some of the Knicks fans in the studio.
We are.
Like hanging their heads this morning. Like, wait a minute, what happened here? But hey, they are celebrating in Indiana, by the way. That's because the Pacers now have a 2-0 lead in the Eastern Conference Finals. Of the highlights on that game ahead, and also a preview of tonight's Thunder Timberwolves game.
Yeah, we are excited for that. But first, we do have a lot to get to this morning, including the breaking news overnight out of Ukraine. Kyiv coming under a large-scale Russian drone and missile attack just hours after the warring countries began a major prisoner exchange. We also have in that terrifying video showing the moment that a plane crashed into homes in San Diego. Look at that right there. Authorities giving an important update on the situation at the airport while that pilot was trying to land.
Yes, but we do begin this morning with the holiday travel picture in the areas of the country seeing severe weather at the same time. So let's start with the forecast. And for that, we turn to Leslie Lopez from our ABC 7 station in Los Angeles. Good morning, Leslie.
Good morning, guys. It's so great to be here with you this morning on a holiday weekend. And we're talking, unfortunately, about some severe weather threats. So as we're looking towards right now, Oklahoma to Arkansas, we do have severe weather watches in effect. We could see some hail. We could see some flooding. We could see some downpours. With that, we can't even rule out a chance of an isolated thunderstorm. There's going to be a lot of rainfall. We're looking at 2 to 5 inches of rain, up to 8 inches possible in some of these areas, stretching from Henrietta all the way out towards areas closer towards Arkansas. Now, some of these areas, again, where we could see some of the more intense pockets of rain, Springfield down through Jonesboro and out towards areas of Dallas, at least to the south of Dallas. So again, this is going to be a quite significant rain event. We also have, unfortunately, that small opportunity for some thunderstorms. We have more to come. We have a lot more weather dividing the nation. I'll show you that coming up in a little bit.
Yeah, there's a lot of weather to watch, Leslie. Thank you so much. And we got to watch it because some 45 million Americans are on the move this holiday weekend on the roads and in the skies. Let's turn now to ABC's Olivia Rubin at New York's LaGuardia Airport for the full travel picture. Good morning, Olivia.
Morning, Gio. It's one of the busiest travel weekends of the year. Airplanes, have been taking off behind me all morning here. And really, the airlines are trying to meet that demand. Take United. They've got over 4,600 flights taking off every single day. That's over 3 takeoffs per minute. Here's the latest on what to know.
This morning, security lines packed and highways jammed as holiday travelers shatter records.
That's why we left 3 hours in advance, but it don't look good.
The lines are terrible. TSA screening 2.9 million passengers on Thursday to kick off the weekend, marking the most of the entire year. TSA expecting to screen 18 million this holiday period. Long lines like these in Atlanta and Los Angeles. Passengers encouraged to leave early.
Her line, because she doesn't have global entry or clear, I do. So I breezed through. And
the line was really, really long.
airlines working to meet that demand.
So far, so good. Everything seems to be on schedule.
And flights mostly on time, even at Newark Airport, despite recent troubles due to air traffic controller shortages and runway construction. United saying it's canceled less than 1% of its flights out of Newark on 8 of the past 11 days. But passengers also expecting to hit the road in record numbers. AAA estimating a record 39.4 million will travel by car, over 1 million more than last year. To beat that traffic, experts say drivers should avoid traveling in the afternoons. The best time to drive, they say, is before noon today, before 1 p.m. on Sunday, and before 2 p.m. on Monday.
And despite that congestion, there is still good news for your pocketbooks. According to AAA, both hotel prices and car rentals both down. The average price for a hotel now below $200, and rental cars down 8%. Gio.
Okay, that is some good news, Olivia. So what can drivers expect to see when they fill up at the gas station?
Well, Gio, there's good news for road trippers there, too. They can expect to see lower prices at the gas pump. The average national price for a gallon of gas is now $3.15, and that's the lowest since 2021. Gio.
Okay, Olivia Rubin on this very busy Memorial Day travel weekend. Thank you so much.
Gio, we now turn to the search for answers in that deadly plane crash in San Diego that also caused 100 families in the neighborhood to be evacuated. ABC's Jacqueline Lee is on the scene with the latest. Jacqueline, good morning.
When officials have already started to bring in equipment to remove some of the debris, and investigators say there is no flight data recorder, so they'll have to find other evidence to determine the cause of the crash. This morning, horrific new doorbell video showing the moment a plane clipped power lines and slammed into a San Diego neighborhood, erupting into a fireball. The investigation now intensifying. Officials saying all 6 people on board the Cessna 550 were killed. Investigators discovering 2 systems were not functioning at the airport as the plane was about to land. The weather reporting system that would have given the pilot landing conditions and the lights that would have illuminated the runway.
It affects the pilot's decision making, not the pilot's performance in the airplane.
In his final transmission, the pilot saying he was going to try to land despite dense fog.
All right, doesn't sound great, but we'll give it a go.
The plane en route from Teterboro, New Jersey. Well-known music agent Dave Shapiro owned the plane and died in the crash. His agency, Sound Talent Group, now identifying the 2 other employees killed on board. 25-year-old Emma Hook and 24-year-old Kendall Fortner. You can see investigators here documenting the pieces of the plane. They say they hope to remove the wreckage by the end of the weekend. Harrowing stories of survival are emerging after flames and jet fuel spewed across one of the largest military housing communities in the world.
Come on, let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Gilbert Gonzalez hoisting a ladder over a neighbor's fence to help them get to safety.
Climb the ladder! Climb the ladder!
We owe all 6 of our lives to him right now.
How does it feel today to look at the damage and to know that you guys helped save people yesterday?
I mean, it's insane to look at, but it's not just us. You know, it's a collective community. Everyone was springing into action.
Once investigators clear the scene, they will move the plane wreckage to a secure location where it will be laid out. We are expecting a preliminary report from the NTSB within the next 30 days. Janae.
All right, Jacqueline, thank you for that update. Now to President Trump's trade war and new threats of major tariffs. His targets this time, the European Union and smartphone makers. ABC's Alex Perche is in Washington with those details. Good morning to you, Alex.
And Janae, good morning. And yes, that's right. President Trump is reigniting a trade war with Europe, calling for a 50% tariff on EU products. And he's also threatening Apple. And the news sending global markets tumbling. Overnight, the world reacting to President Trump's latest tariff threat. Ireland's prime minister calling it enormously disappointing. German officials saying their country needed more trade, not less. And French officials saying they want de-escalation, but are ready to respond. The president calling for a 50% tariff on European products, saying the ongoing trade talks with the European Union are going nowhere.
It's time that we play the game the way I know how to play the game. I'm not looking for a deal. We've set the deal. It's at 50%. But again, there is no tariff if they build their plant here.
And for the first time, President Trump targeting an American company, warning tech giant Apple it will face a 25% tariff if iPhones aren't fully manufactured in the U.S.
Now, again, when they build their plant here, there's no tariff. So they're going to be building plants here.
Apple has yet to respond, but CEO Tim Cook has already promised to invest $500 billion in the U.S. over the next 4 years. But that's not enough for the president. Experts saying moving production of the iPhone entirely to the U.S. would cost tens of billions of dollars.
It's a fairy tale that Apple could ultimately take production of iPhones and move that to the U.S.
The president dismissed concerns that American companies will bear the brunt of these tariffs.
They're not hurting, they're helping because they're creating jobs in America.
The EU tariffs take effect June 1st. The tech tariffs would go into effect by the end of June, and other tech companies, including Samsung, could be added to the list. The news sent stocks sliding Friday. The White House reigniting a trade war with Europe as it's actively negotiating more than a dozen other deals with key trade partners. Now, as for Apple, one estimate says that manufacturing iPhones in the U.S. could nearly triple the cost to nearly $3,500. Gio?
And that's even if Apple could get a warehouse as big as that's needed for those Apple iPhones. All right, thank you so much, Alex. Appreciate you. We are going to go overseas now, where Russia attacked Ukraine's capital with a barrage of missiles and drones. Explosions and fires erupted in Kyiv during a large-scale air assault overnight. The attack comes just hours after the two warring nations kicked off a massive prisoner exchange. Up to 1,000 Ukrainians and 1,000 Russians are expected to be swapped over the weekend. However, the agreement did not signal a ceasefire.
And Gio, the U.S. says it's making progress in its high-stakes nuclear talks with Iran. The two sides meeting in Rome Friday. U.S. senior advisors and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff calling the talks constructive. Iran's foreign minister says multiple proposals were discussed. The Trump administration is calling on Iran to stop all uranium enrichment activity. Iran insists its nuclear program is peaceful.
All right, here at home, the battle between Harvard and the Trump administration is reaching a new level. A federal judge now stepping in, temporarily blocking the White House from barring the university from enrolling international students. The administration's plan could have a massive impact on the school. ABC senior White House correspondent Selena Wang is in Washington with those details. Good morning, Selena.
Hey, Janae, good morning. This is major relief for the thousands of international students at Harvard just 24 hours after the Trump administration ordered them to transfer or lose their legal status. A federal judge blocked that order.
This morning, the showdown between President Trump and Harvard University.
Harvard's going to have to change its ways. So are some others.
A federal judge temporarily blocking President Trump's move to ban Harvard from enrolling international students, writing the university showed it would cause immediate and irreparable injury. The Department of Homeland Security had ordered that existing foreign students at Harvard must transfer or lose their legal status, stating it is a privilege, not a right, for universities to enroll foreign students. The DHS is accusing Harvard of perpetuating what it says is an unsafe campus environment that is hostile to Jewish students, saying the school is employing racist diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. Charges Harvard denies. Harvard sued the Trump administration, calling the ban unlawful, warning this retaliatory action threatens serious harm to the Harvard community and our country. Harvard's former president warns the move will deter the best and brightest from studying in the United States.
We attract extraordinarily talented people, and we are giving that up because of our own choices.
It also threatens a key revenue source for the university, with foreign students often paying full tuition.
This will damage the university's finances in a serious way. But that is the least of the problems. Much more important is what it means for the standing of the United States as a country.
And for now, the future of Harvard's nearly 7,000 international students, about a quarter of the total student body, hangs in the balance.
Still very much in shock, lots of uncertainties right now.
We're being used as poker chips in a battle between Trump and Harvard. It is so cruel, and it is honestly pretty dehumanizing.
And guys, a hearing on this is set for next week. It comes after Harvard has also sued the Trump administration for freezing more than $2 billion in federal funding to the university after Harvard refused to comply with the government's demands to change its admissions policies, its curriculums, and end all of its DEI programs. Gio?
So much to follow there. All right, Selena, thank you so much. Meanwhile, Boeing reaches a deal with the Justice Department to avoid prosecution for two deadly crashes involving its MAX 737 jets. You remember this. 346 people were killed in 2 crashes overseas, one in Indonesia, the other in Ethiopia. Under the agreement, Boeing agrees to pay $1.1 billion in fines. Nearly half of that would go to the victims' families. Now it's up to a judge to accept the agreement.
Now to New Orleans, where police have made another arrest in connection to a group of inmates who broke out of jail. You'll remember this wild scene here. Emmett Weber among them. He's now facing charges for allegedly helping 2 of the inmates after their escape. Last week, 10 inmates escaped from the jail. 5 of the prisoners have since been recaptured. The other 5 remain on the run.
To Paris now, and the brazen robbery of Kim Kardashian. 8 people have been convicted of the crime that took place in 2016. None of them will be spending any more time in prison. ABC's Inez de la Cotara joins us from Paris with those details.
Good morning, Janae. And 8 people found guilty of robbing Kim Kardashian back in 2016. 2 of the defendants were acquitted. The ringleader in this case was given an 8-year prison sentence. 3 others were given a 7-year prison sentence, and 3 others were given a 3 to 5-year prison sentence. However, because of the way the French system works and because many of the defendants had already served time in pretrial detention, none of them will actually go to prison, and they are all now free. The chief judge in this case said he had taken into consideration the fact that it's been nearly 10 years since the crime occurred. He also took into account the defendants' ages. Many of them are in their 60s and 70s. They have been dubbed the grandpa robbers by French media. One of them has Parkinson's disease, another has cancer, and the judge said he felt he couldn't ethically sentence them to any more time in prison. We also heard from Kim Kardashian, who actually graduated from law school earlier this week. She released a statement after the verdict was issued, saying she is deeply grateful to French authorities for pursuing justice. She called the robbery the most terrifying experience of her life, but she says she will now pray for healing for all. Gio?
All right, Inez de la Cuetada in Paris. Thank you, Inez. Now to the highlight of any Memorial Day, the barbecue, of course, and it can get pricey, especially if you're feeding a large group. ABC's Morgan Norwood is here now with tips on how to save on those hot dogs and hamburgers. Good morning, Morgan.
Hey, good morning to you, Gio. I hope everyone here is hungry, but if you aren't yet, you will be. All right, let's start with the main event. That's the hamburgers and hot dogs, because both, they are going to cost you a little bit more, and you may want to beef up on the burgers. According to the latest numbers on inflation, ground beef is up nearly 11% from last spring, but hot dogs, they have jumped a whopping 37% in the same time period. In other words, more burgers, fewer dogs. But if you like chicken, and who doesn't, like barbecue chicken on the grill, right? You want to load up on chicken legs. They've actually dropped over 1% in price. Now, if you are putting lettuce on top of your burgers and like to offer a side salad, you may want to take note of this. Romaine lettuce is up in price per pound about 2.5%, but iceberg lettuce looking pretty good, down about 13.5% per pound from last year. Many people also like iceberg lettuce on their burgers more than romaine, which of course can wilt faster, Janae.
Yeah, you broke Whit's heart with the news about increase in prices for hot dogs, Morgan. But all this sounds good. What about cheese and relishes?
Yeah, you got to have the toppings, right? American cheese, along with pickles and relish, are costlier between 3 and 4% over last year. So try to shop for sales. Also look out for bundled items that some grocery stores put together to help you save a little bit more this holiday weekend. And lastly, if you are having a barbecue, I expect an invite as well. I need
That is fair, Morgan.
Just no hot dogs.
Just no hot dogs. Morgan, thank you so much.
All right, let's turn to hockey now. And on the ice, the Oilers get even with the Stars in Game 2 of the Western Conference Final. And a busy night for Stuart Skinner, making 25 saves to reach his 3rd shutout of the postseason. The Oilers toppled Dallas 3-0. Now the team heads back home to Edmonton for Game 3. You can catch the next face-off. That's tomorrow right here on ABC. Hockey playoffs, basketball playoffs.
I like their name, the Oilers.
We
love all of it.
Speaking of playoffs, by the way, coming up here on Good Morning America, the NBA playoff action. ESPN's Malika Andrews is joining us. See what the Knicks have to do to actually get a win against the Pacers. Can they do something that's never been done before? The strategies also for the Timberwolves and the Thunder coming up.
And we also have Billy Joel's diagnosis, what we know about the medical condition that's forcing the legendary singer to cancel those concerts.
And in our next hour, we've got you covered with some great Memorial Day sales out there. Stick around. You're watching GMA on this holiday weekend.
Safety is your responsibility. Got it.
We promise.
Oh, welcome back to GMA. Lilo and Stitch make a splash at the box office. The live-action remake already banked at least $56 million on Friday, putting it on track to reel in upwards of $180 million. That would dethrone the holiday record currently held by Top Gun Maverick. We're going to have much more on the holiday weekend blockbusters ahead in our next hour here. I have friends who watched it last night.
Yeah?
They love the original. They said this does it.
All
They
right.
love this
Can't wait
one.
to see it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're looking forward to that. I know, because I still have to go see it, too. Now let's take a look at some of the other big stories that we're following on this Saturday morning. Breaking news in Germany, where 18 people were injured in a knife attack. Authorities say a 39-year-old woman went on a stabbing rampage at a train station in Hamburg. Police arrested the woman at the scene as first responders rushed to the aid of the victims. Police say the woman acted alone. Still no word on a motive.
Also, the Rust armorer convicted in the fatal movie set shooting is out of prison. Hannah Gutierrez Reed was released from a New Mexico facility Friday after serving more than 14 months. She was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter for her role in the fatal 2021 shooting of cinematographer Helena Hutchins.
And a Cinderella season for one college baseball team. The Bats are on fire for the LSU Shreveport Pilots in the NAIA World Series opener. The team put up 6 runs, defeating Iowa's Grandview Vikings. And get this, their incredible win elevates their perfect season. That's 55 wins in a row. 55 in a row. Incredible.
That's incredible.
Good for them, the Pilots. Yeah.
Congratulations. Well, we do start this half hour with a look at shark sightings as the unofficial start of summer gets underway. So let's go back to ABC's Morgan Norwood, who has more on staying safe at the beach. Good morning again, Morgan.
Hey, good morning to you, Janae. Yes, beach season is here. And so are the sharks. Great whites spotted early off the East Coast. And this morning, there's new tracking technology that's giving scientists a better look at what's bringing these sharks closer to shore.
This morning, shark season has arrived as millions head to the beach for Memorial Day weekend. One spotted off Montauk, Long Island, just hundreds of feet from the shore. The photographer saying it's the earliest she's seen one in the region.
We're seeing the white sharks now and other smaller sharks, in particular in places like up in the New York, New Jersey, off Long Island, where we have so much bait because we protected our bait fish several years back, and now we have an explosion in bait and all our game fish are back.
The first great white shark of the season recently confirmed off Nantucket. And in New York City, Mayor Eric Adams announcing enhanced monitoring protocols for shark activity, using drones to assist in scanning for unusual marine activity. It will provide early warnings so lifeguards can clear the water if necessary. And scientists from the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy are using new technology to track sharks off of Cape Cod, attaching cameras to their backs to see life from their perspective and monitor interactions with fishermen.
We're using those tags to learn more about their predatory behavior.
As conservation efforts pay off, shark populations along the Atlantic are rebounding, including the great white.
We're not seeing a statistical big uptick in shark attacks, right? So what we're seeing is there's just so much more of everything, and everyone's surprised by it.
All right, experts say before you run into the water this weekend, stop and really look. Avoid areas with diving birds, thrashing fish. That means predators may be nearby. In short, don't swim into the middle of the food chain or the buffet.
Well, I mean, that's some good advice, Morgan. Thank you. We appreciate it. Okay, we are going to switch gears here because we're going to turn to that shocking news now of legendary Billy Joel. He's canceled all future tour dates over a recent health diagnosis. He said he's doing it to follow doctor's orders. So joining us now to talk more about this is ABC News medical contributor Dr. Alok Patel. Dr. Patel, thank you so much for being here. Billy Joel, 76 years old. He's been diagnosed with something called NPH. That's a brain disorder. What can you tell us about this?
Gio, if we break down this term, hydrocephalus in NPH, that refers to essentially water on the brain. So that's a buildup of that fluid, that cerebral spinal fluid that can actually push on parts of the brain. Normal pressure is because in this specific condition, sometimes the overall pressure reading is normal. Now, it can happen secondary to conditions such as a brain injury or tumor, but oftentimes NPH happens without a known cause. It's usually taking place in people above the age of 65 and can cause a myriad of symptoms, such as shuffled walking, dementia-like symptoms like troubles with memory and cognition, and difficulties in controlling the bladder.
Yeah, in his statement, he was devastated to not be able to continue the tour, but doing this obviously for his health. But for people out there, when and how is this condition usually diagnosed, and how is it treated?
You know, Whit, this is devastating. And treatment, first, most important thing is to have awareness and go and see a physician, a neurologist, if you're concerned. Diagnosis is going to involve a doctor asking you questions, doing a physical exam, potentially getting brain imaging, such as an MRI. And if doctors suspect NPH, they will drain some of that fluid with the lumbar puncture or spinal tap and look to see how symptoms change. Now, a more permanent solution would be getting something called a shunt, which actually drains some of that fluid from the brain to another part of the body. Now, with all this being said, this is a form of dementia that can be treatable, potentially reversible, but national organizations suspect about 80% of people with this condition go undiagnosed because it can mimic other conditions such as Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. So awareness, telling these stories is so incredibly important. And we are all sending Billy Joel well wishes and a speedy recovery.
We certainly are, and it is a good thing that we are now talking about it because of his announcement. So, Dr. Patel, thank you for being with us to sort through all of this.
Thank you.
Coming up on Good Morning America, playoff fever with the teams looking to advance in the NBA Conference Finals. ESPN's Malika Andrews joins us with all the action on the court. And welcome back to GMA with the teams battling it out in the NBA Conference Finals. ESPN's Malika Andrews joins us, and we have a lot to unpack. Malika, it's always great to have you. We've been passing out tissues to all the Knicks fans here in the studio, but it was a great game with the Pacers. It seemed neck and neck for a while, but then the Pacers pulling it out at the end. What do you think it was that sort of like changed the game for the Pacers and put them over the edge?
Good morning, Whit. You know what? It's 3 whole minutes that can change your day here, and that's what happened for the New York Knicks. The game was all tied up at 81 after 3 quarters, but those 3 minutes that Jalen Brunson was on the bench to start the 4th quarter, that's where the Pacers were able to break away here, and that's what they're going to be looking back at in this game. The New York Knicks, they were right in it in Game 1 and obviously had that heartbreak ending. This one, it's those 3 minutes that really changed this game, and they were able to pull away and never look back. Shout out Pascal Siakam. He had a playoff career high 39 points in this one, and now they have an uphill battle heading back to Indianapolis.
A major uphill battle, Malika, because no NBA team has lost the first 2 games at home and then come back to win in a series in a conference final. So what do the Knicks have to do to try to pull this one away?
Yeah, Janae, they need to be able to rely on Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson to have an enormous game on the road. But the trouble is the Indiana Pacers, they're 4-1 at home in these playoffs. They have an extremely competitive home court advantage here and a crowd that really loves them and gets behind them in these games. So this is going to be difficult. I think the Knicks get one on the road, and then it goes back to Madison Square Garden, and then anything can happen here. Just focus on getting one. They're coming back from heartbreak, and that's always incredibly important.
Okay, Malika, let's turn to tonight's game. The top-seeded Thunder are, locked in. They look locked in. They're unforgiving, at least. So can the T-Wolves come back in the series?
Yeah, so the Thunder struck twice. They can't strike 3 times here, right? I don't know about Lightning, but that's what this Thunder team is. It goes up 3-0, 159-0 in the playoffs. It's a one-game series. This is what it comes down to. And Anthony Edwards knows thrives in these sorts of environments. We've seen him make these sorts of Herculean comebacks before. It's going to be Anthony Edwards, and it's going to be Julius Randle. He really struggled here in Game 2. They're going to need a little bit more from him. And what's the adage? What's the saying? It's that role players play better at home. I feel better about the Timberwolves than I do about the New York Knicks just because of this. OKC took care of home court advantage. Now the Timberwolves have a chance to do the same, friends.
All right.
Okay.
Malika Andrews from yet another hotel room on the road with the playoffs.
Yep, up late and up early.
Thank you, Malika. Appreciate it. And you can catch the Thunder versus the T-Wolves at 8:30 Eastern right here on ABC.
Updating your summertime playlist, right? As you head to the beach, the pool, you got to get the tunes just right. And Will Gans is here looking into what it takes to make the hit song of the season.
I do send you guys playlists from
yes,
time
you
to
do.
time. I live and breathe this
stuff.
Up to date. That's right. This summer there are songs by Bad Bunny, Morgan Wallen, and Tate McRae, and Lady Gaga that could do well on the charts, but it's not always just about a Billboard score.
From Shaboozey to Survivor. The Song of the Summer is that elusive, somewhat subjective title reserved for songs with real cultural staying power. In 1966, it was the Trogs, and 3 decades later, it was Los del Rio. The summer's hottest sound evolving over time.
If you look at the 2000s, for instance, you see this spike in hip-hop and R&B songs. You see a lot of Nelly and Usher and Outkast. Now it's a little bit less predictable. BTS comes along, scores smash hits, and defines multiple summers. So it's interesting to see how pop music trends evolve.
Traditionally, the Song of the Summer is up-tempo, pop-leaning, and can appeal to wide swaths of people hanging at the beach, at a backyard barbecue, or on the dance floor. The most narrow definition for Song of the Summer is the song that is the biggest charting success during the summertime. But culturally, and certainly personally, there's a little more wiggle room. So we asked some folks around here, what do you think of when I say Song of the Summer?
1996 and The Crossroads by Bone Thugs and Harmony. I was doing driver's ed, and every single time I'd be in the car, that song would come on.
Call Me Maybe, Carly Rae Jepsen.
Oh. Miley Cyrus, Party in the USA.
Okay, so Party in the USA was a huge hit in 2009. Call Me Maybe changed the course of history in 2012. But now I have to ask you guys, what is the song that makes you think summer? Gio?
Despacito.
Despacito.
Tengo que bailar contigo hoy. Right?
Very good.
Oh.
This is how we do it down in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, come on.
What's yours?
Yeah,
that's yours.
Don't stop. Umbrella by Rihanna or Essence by WizKid. Those are two jams. Yeah.
I remember I was trying out for the tennis team when Umbrella was charting, and Umbrella was the highlight of that summer for me. Not tennis tryouts.
Yes.
What was your...
By the way, I still can't see an umbrella without singing that song. Ella, you know, Mystical Magical, I think, is might be the new song of the summer.
That is a great prediction.
It's already like off the charts. I go based on what my daughters are listening to, and they're pretty hip with the program there.
They've got, great taste.
Although, what Ginger said about Bone Thugs and Harmony, that threw me way back. Yes.
Good choice, Ginger.
Love Bone Thugs.
That's right.
Yep.
Well, we'll have to see what it's going to be this year. Lots of great music percolating.
There you go. Thank you so much, Will, and we'll be right back here on GMA. Good morning, America. It's our second hour. Memorial Day weekend kickoff. Severe storms and flooding threats, making it a weather washout for the plains and parts of the South, even as holiday travel is expected to break new records with millions of Americans on the move. The latest on the roads and in the skies.
Plane crash investigation. New doorbell video showing the moment a small plane slammed into a San Diego neighborhood. What investigators are saying about two critical systems that were out at the airport while that plane was attempting to land.
As we sail towards the summer season, what you need to know before diving in, what to bring to the beach, and what to look out for. Expert tips to keep you and your family safe in and around the water.
Everything you've done has come to this.
And it's bound to be a big blockbuster weekend. The movies taking over a theater near you, plus all the best movies and shows on demand this holiday weekend. We're breaking down what to binge as we say, Good morning, America.
It's Saturday morning. This is GMA.
And we do say Good Morning America, holiday weekend, Memorial Day coming up. Coming up here, what you need to know to score the best shopping deals. There are a lot of deals out there for the holidays, so we've got that.
There certainly are. Plus the tariff threats from President Trump sending shockwaves through international markets. The trade fears igniting over smartphones.
More on all of that, though, but we begin here with the holiday travel picture because some spots are seeing severe weather right now. Let's start with the forecast. And for that, we turn to Leslie Lopez Lopez from our ABC 7 station in Los Angeles. Leslie, good morning.
Hey, good morning. It's so good to be with you on this holiday weekend, but we do have to talk about some severe weather. We've been focusing a lot on the Northeast. There's been a nor'easter that has been moving out, and the good news is it is going to be clearing out today. There might be some spots where you have a little bit of wet weather left over, but beyond that, we're moving through the plains, and we still have, unfortunately, some severe weather to talk about. The radar loop just showing that severe weather will continue through today, and we could get some heavy rain. 4 to 6 inches of rain possible, widespread 1 to 2. All right, we'll send it back over your way. Gio.
All right, a lot of weather to watch. Leslie, thank you so much. And we've been telling you about 45 million Americans are on the move this holiday weekend on the roads and in the skies. It's going to be a record breaker. Let's go to ABC's Olivia Rubin at New York's LaGuardia Airport for the travel picture. And Olivia, there are a lot of travelers out there.
Gio, it's a record-breaking weekend already, and here at LaGuardia, we've seen the action. There's planes coming in and out all morning, and airlines are really trying to meet that demand. United, for example, is operating over 4,600 flights per day. That's about 3 takeoffs every minute. Here's the latest.
This morning, security lines packed and highways jammed as holiday travelers shatter records.
That's why we left 3 hours in advance, but it doesn't look good.
The lines are terrible. TSA screening 2.9 million passengers on Thursday to kick off the weekend, marking the most of the entire year. TSA expecting to screen 18 million this holiday period. Long lines like these in Atlanta and Los Angeles. Passengers encouraged to leave early.
Her line, because she doesn't have global entry or clear, I do. So I breezed through. And
the line was really, really long.
Airlines working to meet that demand.
So far, so good. Everything seems to be on schedule.
And flights mostly on time, even at Newark Airport, despite recent troubles due to air traffic controller shortages and runway construction. United saying it's canceled less than 1% of its flights out of Newark on 8 of the past 11 days. But passengers also expecting to hit the road in record numbers. AAA estimating a record 39.4 million will travel by car, over 1 million more than last year. To beat that traffic, experts say drivers should avoid traveling in the afternoons. The best time to drive, they say, is before noon today, before 1 p.m. on Sunday, and before 2 p.m. on Monday.
Now, despite all that congestion, there is still good news when it comes to the pocketbook. Both prices for car rentals and hotels are down, and gas prices are down, too. The national average for a gallon of gas is now at $3.15, and that marks the lowest since 2021. Whit.
All right, we will take that good news while we're sitting in traffic. Olivia, thank you. We appreciate it. Now to the search for answers in that deadly plane crash in San Diego that also caused 100 families in the neighborhood to be evacuated. ABC's Jacqueline Lee is there with the latest. Jacqueline, good morning.
Wait, good morning. Officials say there is no flight data recorder, so investigators will have to find other evidence to determine the cause of the crash. Now, officials say they believe the Cessna 550 hit power lines before slamming into the San Diego neighborhood. They say all 6 people on board were killed. Investigators found 2 systems were not working at the airport where the plane was supposed to land. The weather reporting system that would have given the pilot landing conditions and the lights that would have illuminated the runway. Now, at the time of the incident, the weather conditions were incredibly foggy. As for some of the victims, well-known music agent Dave Shapiro owned the plane and died in the crash. His agency, Sound Talent Group, now identifying the other 2 employees killed during that flight as 25-year-old Emma Hook and 24-year-old Kendall Fortner. Now, the NTSB is expected to release a preliminary report within the next 30 days. Janae.
And we'll be watching for that, Jacqueline. Thank you. Turning overseas now, where Russia attacked Ukraine's capital with a barrage of missiles and drones. Explosions and fires erupted in Kyiv during a large-scale air assault overnight. The attack comes just hours after the 2 warring nations kicked off a massive prisoner exchange. Up to 1,000 Ukrainians and 1,000 Russians are expected to be swapped over the weekend. However, that agreement did not signal a ceasefire.
Okay, Janae, now to President Trump's trade war and new threats of major tariffs. His target this time, the European Union and smartphone makers. ABC's Alex Prochet is in Washington with more. Alex, good morning. Not just any smartphone maker. We're talking about Apple.
We're talking about Apple, Gio. Yeah, and overnight, the world is reacting to President Trump's latest tariff threat. Ireland's prime minister calling it enormously disappointing, and French officials saying that they want de-escalation, but they're ready to respond. The president calling for a 50% tariff on European products, saying the ongoing trade talks with the European Union are going nowhere. And for the first time, the president is targeting an American company, warning tech giant Apple that it will face a 25% tariff if iPhones aren't fully manufactured in the U.S. Apple has yet to respond, but CEO Tim Cook had already promised to invest $500 billion in the U.S. over the next 4 years, but that's clearly not enough for the president. And experts say that moving production of the iPhone entirely to the U.S. would cost tens of billions of dollars, and that cost would then be passed on to consumers. One estimate says that manufacturing iPhones stateside could nearly triple its cost to roughly $3,500. And the EU tariffs take effect on June 1st. The tech tariffs would go into effect by the end of June, and other tech companies, including Samsung, could be added to the list. Now, this news sent stocks sliding on Friday. The White House reigniting this trade war with Europe as it's actively negotiating more than a dozen other key trade partners. Whit.
All right, Alex Prochet for us. Thank you. Turning now to the NBA Finals, where Indiana Pacers are celebrating Game 2 win after delivering a stinging loss to the Knicks. Pascal Siakam dropped 39 points for the Pacers at the Garden. That electrifying performance led the team to a 114-109 victory. The Pacers now lead the Eastern Conference Finals 2-0. The series then heads to Indianapolis for Games 3 and 4. Knicks have some work to do. And in the West, the OKC Thunder are gearing up for Game 3 against the T-Wolves. You can catch all that action tonight at 8:30 Eastern right here on ABC, right after World News Tonight.
Oh, they're good promo.
Tune in.
Check your local listings.
There you go.
Yes. All right, coming up on GMA in our morning menu, Will Gans is here with what to watch over the holiday weekend, including the highly anticipated new movies out in theaters.
He's checking his phone right now. Also ahead, we've got all the best Memorial Day sales for you.
And we are live at the beach with what you need to know to stay safe in the water over the long weekend. We'll be right back. You're watching GMA on this Saturday before Memorial Day.
We're back now with our GMA cover story. It's Memorial Day weekend, and as families enjoy the unofficial start to summer, national spokesperson for the American Lifeguard Association, Wyatt Werneth, joins us now with tips to keeping you and your family safe around the water. Wyatt, it's great to have you. Thanks for joining us. So many people obviously flocking to the beach over the next couple of days. What precautions should people take?
Well, good morning, America. It's a fine GMA day here on the Memorial Day weekend. And let's not forget those that we lost. So, yeah, that's a great question. What we like to tell people is to know before you go. Before you reach that destination, go online, do some research. Find out where those lifeguards are. Your chances of drowning in front of a lifeguard are 1 in 18 million. Also, we want you to look for the warning systems like the flags. A flag is kind of like a stop sign. If you got a red flag, that means it's a high hazard. A yellow flag is slow it down, and a green flag is usually not so bad. But we also want to make sure that you sign a water watcher and you watch the weather. A water watcher is something where when you have a group of people and you know someone can't swim, that water watcher is designated to be the lifeguard for your family.
Yeah, pay attention to those flags and those lifeguards. Wyatt, for sure, good tips there. But a lot of people are also going to the pool, right? So what tips do you have there?
Well, you know the thing about a pool, overall drowning can be prevented. That's a controlled environment. Shouldn't happen. The most important thing is if you identify someone who does not swim, and we like to say, learn to swim, America, is that you put them in a Coast Guard approved life jacket and don't take it off until you leave the pool. The little ones particularly, because they'll leap around and get into the water when you're not looking. Again, that's where the water watcher comes in, someone that's going to pay attention to those who can't swim.
Always got to pay attention. And now you're down there at Cocoa Beach. Let's talk about shark sightings. We've already had some early shark sightings. If people are concerned, what should they know before going into the water?
Well, this is Mother Nature. It's the wild out here, and we always have sharks. Again, know before you go. Find out where those lifeguards are. Those lifeguards are going to watch the water. When they see any type of hazardous marine life, they're going to throw up warning signs. Usually we'll put a red flag, which is a no-go high hazard, and a blue flag, which means that there's marine life. And also we look out for the jellyfish.
All right, Wyatt, thank you so much for joining us. Really, really good advice this Memorial Day weekend. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Be safe out there and always swim in front of a lifeguard.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, we are going to turn now to some Memorial Day weekend sales, but with tariffs causing some prices to already start inching up, what's the best strategy to save? Morgan Norwood is back here now with some pricing forecasts and new deals. Hey, Morgan.
Hey, guys. Yes, Memorial Day weekend is here, and while many of us, myself included, are hunting for deals, retailers are definitely feeling the heat. So economists have actually been warning that tariff-related price hikes could start showing up by early summer. And some retail experts say that pressure is already building. Some also suggesting that we may not see as many deep discounts. But one exception, Amazon offering a wide selection of home cleaning products and supplies. So you spend $50 and then get a $15 discount. We also know that clothing will see price increases. So Target is offering summer wear from 30 to 40% off. That includes women's, men's, and kids' tops, tees, shorts, and dresses and skirts. Some of you may even want to tackle some projects around the house this summer, and Sherwin-Williams is having a paint and stain sale 30 to 40% off. Janae?
It's not
Remember
long.
when you put up the wallpaper yourself, Janae?
You know what? You bring up the shadiest things.
It looks great.
And you can tell. Yes, you can tell that it was me who put it up. Thank you very much.
It looked good.
Morgan, tell us what other deals that you've got also.
Yeah, a lot of deals to talk about here. So if you are talking about moving or taking a vacation later this summer, procrastinators rejoice, because booking within 30 days can sometimes net you a really good price, especially if you're flexible on the date. So I do want to talk cruises because Princess has a really big sale, $800 instant savings and up to 40% off. And then also check this out, because a 7-day Alaska cruise that was $1,658, listen to this, now $568. Now, of course, they have Caribbean cruises in Mexico, but they also have really reasonable Canada and Iceland cruises that fit this new trend of the coldcation, getting away from the sweltering heat in the summer. I don't know. I need the heat. I need the beach.
Give me a beach. I don't need no cold.
Well, yeah, here on the East Coast, though, it's like, got to find that sunshine. But great deals there. Also, understand there's some special deals for Father's Day?
Well, I really think you're going to like this.
Asking for a friend?
So Mother's Day was earlier this month, right? But Father's Day is coming up really fast. So here's a really fun gift for Dad. The dude robe is on sale. 20% off.
Like the Big Lebowski? The Big Lebowski, like the dude abides robe?
The dude robe. Okay, so you get this code, 20% off, dad20 at duderobe.com. Basically, it's a very manly bathrobe that's got non-floppy sleeves, because apparently,
no floppy sleeves.
Apparently, dudes hate floppy sleeves and a permanently attached belt.
I love it.
Yeah.
Do you feel less thought of on Father's Day?
No.
Stop it. Time out. We're not about to start this drama between Father's Day and Mother's Day. Because let me tell you what
just
mamas
get me the dude robe, and then we're in good shape.
Then you're good with the dude robe.
Thank you,
Do you feel less
Morgan.
thought about on Father's Day?
Thank you, Morgan. We appreciate you.
All right, and now Memorial Day weekend is here, and Will Gans is here helping us kick it off with a special edition of Binge This. Hey again, Will.
Hey, I'm here to wallpaper your life with all the best offerings, film, and television.
We love it.
Around the corners.
That's right. That's right.
You've got recommendations for the big feature on the
Some bros.
Feature, big screen bros.
Big screen bros. Yeah, that's right. We're not normally talking about bros, so
We're not,
that's why.
yeah.
But today we are. Let's start, bro. Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning. Tom Cruise is back for his final ? Foray onto the big screen as Ethan Hunt. I say final ? Because it's like when Elton John does a farewell tour. You're sort of like, is it really the last one? But the scale on this movie is epic. 62-year-old Tom Cruise is falling from planes in the sky, doing his own stunts.
He's not 62.
He is, and the runtime, by the way, also epic. The final installment of this fan-fave franchise, 2 hours and 49 minutes in length.
Wow.
That's pretty long. So go check that out this weekend if you want to, or if you're looking for something shorter and simpler, how about a big screen bromance that swaps rom-com for cringe-com? It's called Friendship. The movie stars Tim Robinson as an awkward middle-aged man who's desperate to become friends with his cool new neighbor, who also happens to be the local weatherman, played by Paul Rudd. The movie is laugh-out-loud funny, but you might be watching half of it from behind your hands because of how cringy emoji it is. That's in theaters this weekend. I literally was like, why is he doing this? It's
So
very
cringe-com.
Cringe-com. So if you have a hard time watching other people embarrass themselves, maybe this is not the movie for you. But if you find that funny, definitely go see it.
You get so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It is true.
Oh, God, here he goes again.
Check it out. All right, you also have some ideas for families who that want to go camping this weekend?
Yes, but it's not the camping that you're thinking of. Let's talk about Dean Fleischer
Gio's
Camp.
big into camping, by the way.
So big, bro.
This is Camp Dean Fleischer Camp style. He's the director of the brand new Lilo and Stitch live-action remake that's surfing into theaters this weekend, and it's fun for the whole Ohana. Lilo and Stitch looks like it'll be swimming in about $165 million at the box office this holiday weekend, so definitely go check that out. But if you like adorable, cuddly creatures, Dean Fleischer Camp is also the director and writer of Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, which you can stream now on Prime Video or Apple TV. Guys, this is in my top 4 favorite movies of all time.
Really?
It's about a tiny shell named Marcel who, along with his Nana Connie, is on a mission to find the rest of his family. It is profound, it's funny, it's heartwarming, and it's only an hour and a half. Proof that even the smallest movie stars can give you the biggest feels. I could literally cry thinking about this movie. I love it that much.
Wow, that is so. Okay, I got to watch that. All right, so what about the small screen?
Yes, mark your calendar because coming up this week, Leonardo DiCaprio is unveiling his newest project. The Oscar winner is the executive producer of Sitting Bull, a documentary about the famed Lakota leader. The 2-night documentary event airs Tuesday, May 27th and Wednesday, May 28th at 9/8 Central on the History Channel. And available to watch right now on Netflix, check out Siren, starring Oscar winner Julianne Moore as a boss whose relationship with her assistant is getting a little too close for comfort. It's real weird. Megan Fahey, who you might remember from White Lotus Season 2, plays the assistant's sister who shows up to figure out what's going on between the boss and the assistant. This is not for the whole family. Parents watch this one without the kids, but it's gripping, it's kind of funny, and all 5 episodes are already streaming, so you can binge the whole thing this weekend. I started it. It's real spooky, but like in a fun way. In a fun way, yeah.
Okay.
The boss and the assistant are like sharing gum. It's that level of like, okay, this is getting a little weird.
That feels a little cringe-com.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
People stopped doing that after COVID. That was like
exactly.
You did it before COVID?
No, I'm just.
All right. We're not judging. Thank you so much, Will.
Yes. Coming up here, just in time for the holiday weekend, we explore the connection between joy and the great outdoors. What's that about camping?
Yeah.
Just sit back. Don't rewind. We're right here, right now. Back now on GMA with DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. It's the unofficial start of summer, the perfect song for it. And we're helping get you ready for barbecue season with some scrumptious side salads and next level lemonade. Coming up, look at Jason over there.
He's ready. We're all ready. We'll
That's
see Jason
great.
in
We
a bit.
can't wait for that. Thank you, Jason. Now to some of the top stories that we're following here right now. Take a look at this. Millions are on the move for the holiday weekend. AAA reports 45 million travelers are expected to hit the road and the skies, and the TSA is expected to screen 18 million at checkpoints across the country as travelers pack the airports for their Memorial Day weekend destinations.
Legendary performer Billy Joel cancels all future tour dates over a shocking health diagnosis. The singer revealed on social media that he's facing a brain disorder that causes hearing, vision, and balance problems. Billy Joel saying he's following doctor's orders to take a break from the tour circuit and prioritize his health.
And an inspirational Major League Baseball comeback. Braves' Ronald Acuna Jr. made his presence known after a year off. I don't know if you saw that there. That was his season debut last night. He hit this against the Padres. He hit a homer on the very first pitch. The fastball play gave Braves fans something to celebrate. Acuna has been on the injured list after an ACL tear last season, so quite a way to come back. Yeah.
Right after the first pitch.
Yeah. Well, our next guest is a board-certified psychiatrist and the author of the book High Functioning: Overcome Your Hidden Depression and Reclaim Your Joy. Dr. Judith Joseph is here to talk about opening yourself up to joy. Dr. Judith, thank you for being here. We're so excited to talk to you. You yourself, as a successful psychiatrist and author and parent, you are the epitome of high functioning, yet you yourself have struggled with what's called high functioning depression. Tell us about your experience.
Well, thank you for having me. You know, on the outside, it looked perfect. I had the perfect job, perfect family. Everything looked put together. But on the inside, I was struggling with something called anhedonia. And when most people think about depression, they think about someone crying, not getting out of bed, not getting things done. They don't think of someone who is pathologically productive, getting things done, but lacking joy. So I wanted people to really understand this. You know, think about the mother who has to go to work, take care of her kids. Think about the entrepreneur, the healthcare provider. They can't slow down. They are the rock. So many of us struggle with a lack of joy called anhedonia, and we don't really fully understand what's happening.
Did you understand it as depression for yourself?
You know what? I study this. I research it. I'm a therapist, and it snuck up on me. So I wanted people to really understand. It's different than burnout. Burnout is caused by the workplace. The workplace causes those symptoms of lack of motivation, low energy. But when you remove people out of the workplace, their burnout gets better. High functioning depression is different. Even when you leave the workplace, you're still busy. You can't sit still. You're taking on your kids' projects. You're doing a side hustle. There's something internal happening. When you are not busy, you feel empty or restless.
So to get to a solution, you have to understand it, right? Get to the root of the problem. And one thing that you say that is really interesting, there's a distinction between happiness and joy. How do you characterize that difference?
You know, when patients come to my practice, they say, Dr. Judith, I just want to be happy. But in my research, I study points of joy. So think happiness is dependent on the external. When I finally have a partner, I'll be happy. When I finally get that job or house, I'll be happy. Something on the outside has to happen for it to happen. Whereas joy is internal. You can cultivate it. We all as human beings have access to joy. It's in our DNA. So things like when you eat, you enjoy your food. It's yummy. When you rest, you feel refreshed. When you're lonely, you connect and you feel seen. All of these are points of joy that are internal, so we all have access to joy, whereas happiness, we're waiting for something to happen for it to happen.
So how do you tap into that sense of joy?
Well, with my patients, I give them this assignment of being a little archaeologist. You're going to dig up the past. You are your own historian because there's only one you. So we'll do things like we'll bring in old pictures. We'll look at times in the past when they were joyful, and we'll try to understand, what were you doing? What were your hobbies? Who are you around? Were you someone who used your hands a lot? Let's try to tap into that, like baking, doing makeup, things like that to spark that joy again.
You're almost collecting moments of joy to like build towards happiness.
Correct,
right?
yes. In research, we add up the points of joy, and that's what determines if you're becoming happier. So I train my patients, I teach them how to do this for themselves.
Wow. And it's so interesting because what you described, it almost sounds like going back to your childhood where you innately were seeking out what made you joyful. I think
that
of kids
of play,
coloring
right?
or wanting to go outside, and outdoor time is actually something that you prescribe to your patients. Why is that?
You know, you're a mom of 3,
yes.
So you don't have to teach children joy. You're absolutely right. Yes. So with my patients, I prescribe nature. Nature lights up the human brain and naturally brings us joy. Think when you see a beautiful sunset, or you're in the park, or you see the ocean, all of that gives us a sense of what researchers call awe. You know, we're all here in this universe for a reason. So when we see things like nature, I'll prescribe my patients, go to the park or have a plant in your office. Try to remind yourself of the fact that you are here for a reason.
Oh my gosh, and I love that you talked about that because my 2 kids woke up this morning, I saw on our camera, and I'm like, why are you guys up at 5:25? And they're like, we wanted to see the sun come up. They woke up to find that joy.
Seeking joy.
Yes, so thank you for that reminder, Dr. Judith. Thank you for being here, and High Functioning is out now.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
again.
you for having me.
Coming up here, Jason Goldstein is here with his picnic picks and tips for your Memorial Day weekend. Jason, we'll see you in just a bit.
Liquid joy. Okay, we are back now, and we are celebrating Memorial Day weekend with some excellent lemonade. Cookbook author and content creator and our friend Jason Goldstein joins us here to show us a few ideas to make your picnic pop. What's up, Jason? Good morning.
Hi, good morning. I'm so grateful to be here for picnic fun.
I know, live from your kitchen. Nothing says summer like lemonade, of course. You have an easy way to level it up.
Yes, so this is a 3-ingredient bubbly spark lemonade.
Bubbly.
It's half lemonade, half ginger ale, and then you put frozen fruit inside, and it keeps the drink cold for the whole time, and then also have a tasty treat.
I love that. That tastes really, really good. You guys
ginger ale,
like it?
picks it up next level.
No, it tastes really, really good.
Yeah.
Really refreshing. Okay, so we have a game. It's called Nosh or Nope, and we've got our first true or false question. Whit and Janae, so you have those paddles. Yes. Nosh or Nope. Get those paddles ready here. So let's talk about this first one. Nosh or Nope, it takes 20 lemons to make an 8-cup pitcher of lemonade. What do you guys think?
Cup?
It's a total guess. I'm going to say Nosh.
Yeah.
Nosh. All right, Jason, what is it?
Okay, the answer is false. It's actually 1 lemon per cup. So if in 8 cups, it's going to be 8 lemons.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that would be a rough one. 20 lemons for one 8 cup.
A lot of juice in that lemon.
That would be a lot. Okay, let's move on to eats here, starting with a tater tot Caesar potato salad.
Huh? Oh, okay, so we are going to replace the potato with tater tots. So there's no peeling, there's no chopping.
That's so
Just
smart.
take your put them into the oven to package instructions. And then we have our dressing right here. We have our mayo, our Dijon, our Parmesan. We're gonna add salt, pepper, and red pepper flakes. And you can actually use Greek yogurt to make it healthy if you want to. And then instead of anchovies, we're gonna use soy sauce, and it gets that same pungent flavor. And we're gonna mix it up and keep your dressing separate from your tot so you don't get a soggy tot at the party.
You don't want a soggy tot at the party.
No, definitely not. And then your tots go in there and ribbons of picnic love so you can see the beautiful Caesar salad represent in there, and you're gonna mix it all together. And when it's all mixed together, you are going to get this fabulous
That's
pound of tater tot.
That is so nice.
I'm
And
intrigued.
Let me tell you something. I love me some tater tots.
Yeah.
So good. Oh,
Me
not
too.
Nosh.
Oh, man.
Okay, so here we go. Nosh or Nash? Nosh or Nope? The Caesar salad was invented in Italy. What do you guys think?
I'm going to say Nosh. Yeah.
Nosh or Nope? Okay, what do you say, Jason?
Okay, it's actually not invented in Italy. It was invented in Tijuana, Mexico by Chef Caesar in 1924. Yeah, exactly. And the rumor is he didn't have enough ingredients for his patrons at his restaurant, so he went into the kitchen and whipped up what we now know as the Caesar salad.
Wow. Okay.
I was not expecting
Mind
that.
blown.
Yeah, okay. Healthy garlic yogurt crunchy slaw. What you got?
Okay. This is crunch-tastic. So basically, you're gonna take Greek yogurt, mix it with garlic, honey, and lime, and then you mix your crunchy vegetables in here. You can use any crunchy vegetables you want. And if you want this to not be creamy and you want it to be more of a vinegar base, just take out the Greek yogurt, add a couple tablespoons of olive oil, and you get this beautiful salad that you can actually make the day before, and it stays crunchy.
Ooh, okay, real quick, Nosh or Nope. When temps rise to 90 degrees or above, creamy sides can only stay outside for 30 minutes.
Nosh.
Nosh, yeah.
What do you think, Jason?
Okay, this is not true either. So it's an hour. Yes. If it's less temperature, you can go for 2 hours, but just keep it in ice so that you can eat it as you go and you have a beautiful picnic.
Okay, so Janae wins with 1 point.
Boy, we didn't do very well.
No, we didn't.
Jason, thank you so much. We so appreciate having you.
We didn't do
Thank
very
you,
well,
I'm
but I
grateful.
still beat you.
Yeah.
For the record.
What else is new?
All right, let's go to Leslie Lopez for
Now with ABC's Secret Sales, Will Gans is here with what you need to enjoy your day and get you all the rest that you would like to have at night. And everything here is shoppable on our website, right, Will?
That's right.
Where are
gonna
we
start
starting?
with a fan favorite. This is Cozy Earth. We love it.
yeah,
We know
right.
it. And the great thing about Cozy Earth is that it's viscose from bamboo. So it's going to keep
So
you,
soft.
Yes, temperature regulated. You're going to
Yes.
sleep cooler than you would if you were wearing just cotton. Lightweight styles. We also have the terry pullover. What I love about this is that you can go from lounging on the couch to running errands. You know, it's a little bit of both. You can stay at home and then pop out if you need to do any of that. Organic cotton over there. Great thing about this, all 50% off today for our viewers.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah, love Cozy Earth.
All right, up next here, this is you were saying that you actually use this on your bed, right?
Yes, this is the bed scrunchie. So it sounds a little bit crazy, but what it's for is keeping your sheets perfectly in place. Sometimes you order like a queen set and they feel a little bit bigger than what your mattress needs, or if you toss and turn at night, the sheets come loose. Not with this. All you do is you clip your sheets on and it keeps them tucked tight, snug, and in place.
There we go. We got it.
Together.
Yeah. Snug.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's an episode of Seinfeld where George is like telling the hotel maid, I want the sheets tucked. Well, if he had this, he wouldn't need it.
Totally.
Great thing about this, 40% off on this easy solution to keep your sheets
Love
in
that
place.
idea. Nobody likes a messy bed. All right, so out here, these have little spots for ponytails.
Exactly,
too.
from your bed to your head. This is Pony Flow, and the patented ponytail hole is perfect for women who want to keep their hair up in the summer, right? You want to keep it off your neck to keep you cool. So if you have a ponytail or a bun, these hats will keep your face protected from the sun. We have wide brim options here that are UPF protected. We also have a bag today.
Some fancy prints, too.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Super cute for the ladies in your life. And what I love about these active caps is that there's ventilation here.
Yes.
So you'll stay cool in the front, and you can keep the pony going in the back, and you can save 40% on these summer accessories today.
Very nice.
Yes.
Okay. This is what you were sporting earlier.
Yes. This
Bags on the go.
Malibu Sky. Yeah, these are super cute. Sling crossbody bags are really in this summer. There are 3 different pouches on these, which is fabulous. I love the quilted pattern on the front of this one, vegan leather on the outside, lining on the inside, so it'll be easy to clean if you're wearing it. Save more than 65% and get your new summer bag for just $25.
Excellent. And I was distracted earlier because there's a lot going on over here.
Yes, this is fab. So,
somehow Gio's sleeping in a bed and he has like a Beyonce fan blowing his sheets.
With the exception of sleeping in a full suit, this is very comfortable.
Good, love to see it. This is BedJet. So this is on-demand cooling and sweat-drying comfort at home in bed. So you can set it to the temperature that you like to sleep at night. And when
It's
the temperature
super cooling,
dips,
by the way.
it'll go off and it's quiet. You barely hear it at all right now. It's also not using water to keep things cool. It's only air temperature regulated. So no wires, no water, and it stores right under the bed. There's a remote
Wait,
control.
that's air?
That's air.
Oh, I thought that was just Gio kicking his little legs under.
I'm so excited to be a part of this. BedJet is fabulous. Custom temperature fan settings every hour of the night. Save 35% today. Plus free shipping.
Yeah, I always got to sleep cool.
Yeah,
yep,
me too.
Got to have the
Me
airflow. Gio, thank you for the demonstration.
Thank you, Gio.
Will, we appreciate it. Of course, we've partnered with all of these companies and all of these great bargains. You can get them by scanning the QR code right there on the screen, or you can go to our website.
And as I end my day, thank you for starting your day with us.
Leslie, did you ever think that you would end a broadcast on GMA
Massaging
gathered
his
around?
temples?
Yeah, gathered around an adjustable bed.
Yes.
It's that
Great
kind of
holiday
Saturday.
weekend.
Bye, everybody.